This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
You know how sometimes the first play of the game can be a real tone setter?
Aussie.
Yeah, I basically just went with Ashton Jen Teabag.
NFL.
He's not a walking 7 for 70 as I learned last week when he went 1 for 5.
Fantasy.
I'd probably lean towards taking Henry maybe ahead of McCaffrey just because of what I've seen.
The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. Loading.
Australia's premier NFL fantasy football show is back. For the Aussie Gridiron Network, this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. And now, with week 7 behind us, you get to journey with us into what can only be described as the mega bye. 6 teams out this week, and it's gonna get hairy. They call me Matty C, and joining me this week, kind of like when Tyrod Taylor steps in for Justin Fields. You've seen him before, and this time you've asked for more. It's Cam, the Beanbag Man, joining us again. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. It was just a great week of football. I mean, some just bonkers scores going on. I had an absolute blast. Some leagues and some leagues I got absolutely shit on. So, yeah, absolute blast this week.
Feast or famine, huh?
Oh, I can tell you.
No middle.
No, and I went into some of those fourth quarters of the late slate thinking, man, I've got a 20-point lead. I'm projected to win by 30, and then I went up against Bo Nix and Trey McBride, and just ended up getting waxed. So I mean, that's that's life. You know, you just have to sit there and smile. Take it like a champ. So, yeah.
Because how often is it the other way around too? Where just sometimes you get the sneaky Bo Nix game to get you home, and you forget that you're crushing some other poor bastard's dream.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes the bear eats you.
I love that. That's going to be a drop. Speaking of a bloke who's drop worthy too, I'm going to bring in a guy we haven't seen through the Aussie Gridiron Network for a little while, but he always holds a piece of our heart. And I think the distance makes the heart grow fonder. You will know him, of course, from having spent plenty of time through our shows on the AGN, as well as having a stint running the No Huddle Dynasty podcast. I can't believe that we get to bring back on Dynasty Mark. How are you, handsome?
I am well, my friend. It is so good to be back. So good to be talking football with you wonderful people.
I've just missed you so much. It's
been a massive hole in my life. So I was talking to you guys at the start of the season. It's when you don't have it, you just realize how much you actually miss it. And it's kind of like life does get in the way at times, but you just got to find a way to do the things you love. So I'm very happy to be here.
We are so stoked to have you. And I think this is kind of that rare opportunity this week where we were missing Taylor last week. We had to do a bit of a jig around, and then we knew we were going to be without Taylor this week. So when I reached out and I knew that we were going to get this lineup locked in, I've just been kind of like in a silent state of like adrenal pleasure ever since, because I've kind of been desperate to get you two together. You've both got such great fantasy football minds, and I've spent so much time with both of you over time as well. It's going to be a very cool night, I think, for not just the listeners, but for me over here fangirling. It's fantastic.
Like the Replacements movie, we're going to come in, we're going to do a better job, we're going to get you over the line, and then Taylor's going to swan in last minute and then claim all the glory. That's probably how it's going to go.
I think you've met Taylor before.
I'll be Clifford Franklin, though.
Yeah, I think you would do a good Clifford Franklin, to be honest.
Can't get my hand around the ball, though, so I can't throw it. So.
Yeah.
You'll have to be quarterback.
Who's going to quarterback that team? Pete Ryan.
Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete, get him in there. That is an inside joke from the Astros. Hey, one thing I do want to cover real quick is that at the start of each week, generally I do a quick dive into what's been going on in each of the leagues that we've got for listeners. The listeners have come together. We've got 36 of them playing against Taylor and I across 4 different leagues, trying to win some free stuff. The winners of each of these leagues, or the highest place getter behind Taylor, as I'm told, will get themselves around about $100 worth of cool gear from the AGN merch store. You can find that store anyway and buy cool swag as it is Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. But for those who are in the game to try and get it for free, like the Bowdo saying, if it's free, it's for me. If you're one of those, you're probably doing all right against me in the Red League. The Red League has been a little up and down for me, and I'm 3-4 in that league after having just lost in the last week in what was a really cool little matchup to Josh 22. So that's been a good league. The leaders in that one, I'll just read down the fellas who are at the top of that one is We've got Randall McSupercobb, who's kind of came from middle of the pack early on. This is a fellow named Tom. He's now 5-2 on a 3-win streak and leads the league in scoring. He gave me a royal dust-up about 2-3 weeks ago. He's finally taken over the lead from Jai L2, who's been undefeated for the longest time, and then has now just sort of succumbed in a second loss. So that's how the Red League is looking at the moment. My matchup this week there is going to be against Jai L2. We are both hurting within buys and injuries a little bit. And by a little bit, he's not. I'm suffering from it. So the projections there aren't doing me any favours. In the Green League, I started off far stronger, though. I'd gotten off to a good little start. I was at the 4-2, and I took a bit of a shot to the neck this week from Choppers 44-22 in what was a great game. It ended up, there was only a point and a half between us. We both scored over 140 points, and it was really reliant on what was happening in that Seahawks game between McLaughlin kicking and in the earlier game, and then the Seahawks defense against the Texans in that later game. And he hung on. He got the 147-145 win. And it means that this coming week, I'm going to get a little slice of McCaffinator, which is Turnbuckle 29's team. The league standings here, though, we've had the Medical Tent, who's been Boyd's team, have been undefeated all year. He finally copped a loss. It's kind of rich that he's been calling himself the Medical Tent when he's 6-0, but there you go. He finally took one in the neck. He's still got a game lead on Josh UR 1994, who also took a loss. And this mate McCaffinated, he and I, we're a battle of third versus fourth. And we're both 4-3. So that's how those leagues stack up. Cam, you're in the Gold League. I had Kev give us an update on that last week, who's been, for a while there, quite plucky about how he's been doing in that league. But can you tell us a little bit about Taylor's performance in that league and how, give us a little bit of a look at how you're traveling in that league as well, and then some standings.
So there's some guy named Cam the Beanbag Man, aka Cam the Ice Cream Man, aka the Lad McConkey guy, who's undefeated 7-0. I actually faced Taylor this week, and it was an absolute battle royale. We went into Monday night. He was completely done. I needed 5.5 points from David Montgomery to beat him, and ended up getting 5.6. I won by 0.32. And to stay undefeated and to keep Taylor below 500. And he's currently 3-4. He's just snuck into the playoffs still if they started today. And old Kev, man, Kev's putting up a ton of points, man. He's still, I think he's got 5 more points than me, even though I'm undefeated. And he's 4-2-1.
Then.
How you get a tie in decimal scoring is beyond me, but because it goes 2 decimal places.
Two decimals.
It has to be down to the yard. But he's tied up at 4-2-1. So doing great. That's a fun league, man. Great. You're having a blast.
We fill that league first from our listeners, and the great thing is a lot of that listenership came from folks who've come through the show or who we've had a lot to do with in the fantasy community. So there's kind of a lot of pride at stake in that league. I think there's a lot of ego going on in there. And I think that's kind of why then Tay too is like, oh, this isn't going to be standard 10-team sleeper league. This is going to be 2 quarterback, and we're going to fuck around with the settings. Mate, I love that league has become what it is. And mate, on top, undefeated. What?
Oh, yeah. Look, no defense, no kickers, super flex, no bullshit. There's like 12 flexes. It's a blast, man. 10-team league, but still with that deep of a roster, it feels more like a 12-team league, So, yeah, it's fun, man. It's
So we'll get an update on what's going on in the Blue League because we'll have Taylor back next week, we expect. And after a couple of weeks by, he'll be back and raring to go. The great thing is everyone who finishes sort of the highest of the listeners in these leagues is going to score himself a whole bunch of cool swag. So, we'll keep on bringing the updates. And what we'll do now is get into our breakout players.
GDAY GRIDIRON.
Anyone that hasn't joined us before, it's pretty simple. Let's kick it off, eh? Is everyone ready?
The 4 horsemen of NFL in Australia.
If the sound ever plays, the pick is officially in.
Nick the lineman.
So it's the worst against any team, and it's also the worst passer rating that he has against any team at 66.3.
Brad the coach.
The Steelers have held the Ravens under 20 points in 7 straight games.
Isaac the analyst.
For this one, I couldn't understand it either. Like, I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Ian the Viking.
Full of passion, full of fight. They might genuinely be interesting to watch again.
Previews, overreactions, and bloody best bets.
If Derrick Henry can get rolling, then I think it's no contest. The Ravens are going to win.
As a fan of the NFL, you hope he comes back because he's just an absolute beast when he gets on there.
That would be able to give, at least Justin Fields a chance to be able to build.
Let's move on after that insanity.
So I just think, though, it's going to stop here.
Defensively for the Bills, I don't think that's actually going to combat what the Chiefs do already.
Yeah, I guarantee if he would get down on his knees for that.
GDAY Gridiron.
I love spreadsheets. I'm a spreadsheet man.
I love spreading my legs.
Twice a week, all season long on the Aussie Gridiron Network.
So this week, tricky. 6 teams on a bye, right? We've got the Jags, the Cardinals, and then everyone else. Who even cares who they are, right, Cam? The 2 important teams we've already mentioned.
Yeah, don't even need to talk about it. So
yeah, that's it. Raiders, Rams, Seahawks, and Lions, the other ones, but who cares? This means that there's a condensation of where people are starting players. It will make other segments this week a little trickier too. But the cool thing is that there's going to be people who just shock you out and go and throw up a big old day. I'm going to go and start with Marky Mark and get him to pick a player at any position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, who he thinks is going to have a great breakout week. And we'll start running from there. It's sort of something we like to do for our third chair. Just give them the first run in on this one.
Yeah, I've got an interesting one. It hurts, but I just roll with it at this point. I'm going to go Michael Penix. I feel like the guy's just going to have a day against that putrid, disgusting team from Florida who just need to fire everybody.
We're on a bye, Mark.
You're not the only team in Florida. You're the only relevant team in Florida.
No. I think Baker would be pissed at you for saying that, but no, I think taking players against the Dolphins at the moment is sadly it's fantasy jam, right? Like it's almost asking for a freebie.
Yeah, well, that's like they won't get pressure on him. He'll have all day in the pocket. He can do what he wants. He obviously can run the ball too. So he's projected 14.95. That's cakewalk. The guy will hit 20.
Yeah, they seem to play better at home as well. This is something that Taylor was starting to dive into, is what their home road splits look like, and the offense just works better in their own dome. So he said that. I listened. I looked it up. I'm a believer.
Yeah, no, that's a great call on Michael Penix, man. That Miami defense is that whole team. They've given up, man. They're already making plans in Cancun. It's a wrap there. I am going to go with a guy that's near and dear to my heart. I won titles in back-to-back years with this guy who came off the couch on one of those years, had an epic run, took the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. I'm talking about Mr. Joseph Flacco. I think he's going to have a big day against the Jets. The Jets are sort of middle of the pack defense. They're at home again. I don't think Sauce Gardner can stop Jamar. And just with everything he's got going on around him, they don't run the ball. It's all going to run through him. I think he has a big game, 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. And probably, I'm going to give him 5 rushing yards too. He's good for about 5. But I think he's going to be top 10, and he's going to pay off. Bye-pocalypse, there's a lot of guys on bye, man. If you have to, thrust Joe Flacco into action, I think he's going to pay off for you this week.
Joe Flacco, do you see in the first game he'd been in the building for about 3 days, and they sent him out to do a naked bootleg, and he ran for 12 yards. It's like, you're going to get him killed. But he just springs up, runs back. And then this week just gone 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not bad.
No.
We've seen it. So
look, and he's listed at 6'6", but he is I mean, he looks like he's 6'7", and he's a giant out there. And he's in a league of, like all the offensive linemen are all huge guys, and he just stands right over the top and just delivers that ball to his stud receivers. He's the perfect quarterback for this offense, and I think he's just gonna have a massive game against the Jets again. He's got about 4 of them, so yeah.
If he's gonna force 20 odd targets into Jamar, sign me up. I mean, wasn't that beautiful to see? He's 16-23. That's going to win you some games, going to your best player that often. And look, Sauce was in and out of the game on the weekend too, so I just don't know that he'll be 100% either, because he was kind of a bit nicked up and banged up. But Flacco versus the Jets, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 rushing yards for fun. I'm fucking down with that. I kept mine just in line with beat up on a shite defense, right? So I'm going with I'm just going to drop 39 points in the fourth quarter, Bo Nix, against the Dallas Cowboys, who've been largely difficult to contain anything. I'm going to take him for 25 plus points. He'll kill you a couple of ways. We've seen that. And running that touchdown in the fourth quarter was just... that was such an enigmatic play to do that in front of your home crowd to take a lead late. So I think he'll be riding high, and he'll ride into Dallas and kick some ass. I'm going to go to you now, Cam, and see what position you want to pick up. We've got the quarterbacks in the bag. Do you want to go a running back, wide receiver, tight end? Where are you sniffing?
So I'm going to go back to the well. Look, he came out his first week playing and put up a great fantasy day as a backup, and then kind of shit the bed last week. Look, I think this week he's going to do well. It's Thursday Night Football, Kamani Vidal for the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, he didn't come through last week, but he still got all the volume. Hassan Haskins has already been ruled out. So it's going to be him and I think Naheem Hines is the other guy there, and the other running back in that room. So it's going to be all Kamani Vidal. Look, the Minnesota defense is not easy. It's not an easy matchup. It's top 10 as far as against the run. So. But I think he's going to get all of the work. So I think he's going to get 15 rushing attempts for 60 yards. He's going to get another 5 catches for 30 yards, and he's going to get a touchdown. So I think he's going to be a top 10 running back for you on these bye weeks, man. I think he's going to be a stud, and he's going to get all the work. There's nobody else there. He's going to get all the volume. He's going to have all the opportunities, and I think he's going to volume his way to a top 10 week. So.
Yeah, Mark, can you poke a hole in that?
No, I love it. He has been in Astros. I picked him up. He saved my bacon when Aaron Jones went down. So, I 100% agree. Haskins being ruled out is massive because at one point that was an actual decision. It's no longer a decision. He is by far the best current running back there. I like it.
Franchise has been snake bitten for offensive linemen and running backs this year. But the other thing I like about Vidal is if that's a contest, and I expect it to be a contest, I don't think one team or the other is going to blow each other away. I think that'll be a game for at least 3 of the quarters, which to me also means Vidal's a great shout at getting the receptions. And I think that matters more than it's tougher to run it right up the guts against the Vikings anyway, but especially when you're sort of missing so much of your interior brass. So that's kind of why I like that is, you say 5 for 30-ish, he may end up with 7 or 8 catches. It's entirely possible. Marky Mark, you got a running back for me?
I do. I'm going to lay into the Cowboys as well. So I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins this week. The Cowboys are giving up the 3rd most yards on the ground, allowing teams a 66.7 conversion in red zone trips. I think there's going to be enough there for him. I mean, he's projecting 13.82. He'll smash that. I would have him easily 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and let's make it interesting: 1 receiving, 1 rushing.
Oh, nice! Well,
nice.
Starting to get you up towards 25 points by the time you get a few receptions in there. So, I love that. 100 yards plus 2 touchdown guarantee. Ring the bell. But 1 each. 2 total touchdowns. I looked at this running back situation out there, and I just kind of thought, you know what? I think the Jets are going to battle, but I think the way that you attack Cincy is you kind of go around the edges. You try and isolate old mate Hendrickson, and you try and plug either outside or inside of him on the line. You send Breece Hall through that, or you set him up in the screen game and you try to give him room to run. So I'm taking Breece Hall, thinking that he will probably get the lion's share of what they do there. They're stretched for passing weapons. We've seen even probably the best passing option they've got there when Garrett Wilson is out is Mason Taylor, and he sort of hasn't kind of taken that step. So I just think it's kind of got to be Breece or bust. Tyrod also sort of showed he can run that offense pretty well in a week where Justin Fields isn't there. So I'm taking Breece Hall for 20-plus points in that little supporting Tyrod role against Cincy this week. I keep rolling with my wide receiver too, and I'm just going to lean straight into this matchup against the Ravens. We talked about it a little earlier with DeAndre Swift. I've just got this feeling in me waters that it's going to be an Odunze week. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen him kind of put up a biggish one. He was one of the most sold players in SuperCoach this week. If you catch the SuperCoach Halfa podcast, we were talking about that. But I kind of feel like it's a bit early to throw in Rome Odunze. This secondary is pretty badly hurt. And he's definitely shown he draws the eye of Caleb Williams. He's a class receiver. So I've got him for 20-plus points against the Baltimore Ravens, Cam.
Yeah, that defense is reeling, huh? I think that's a great call. He's sort of been, he had that very hot start, but he's sort of just been, Caleb's not been great. So, but I think this is a get right spot against this defense. So I think that's an excellent call. He's obviously their number one. DJ Moore's a great receiver, but he's sort of, left
he's
to the way. I like,
piece now.
He is. And I like Luther Burden. I think he's got some potential. I think DJ Moore's getting traded here. If not by the end of the year, then definitely in the offseason. So, but either way, great call, man, especially against that defense. So, yeah, great call.
And I think for redraft purposes too, I would love it if I could get another good week out of Rome now, regardless of what happens to him for the rest of the year, because I think it makes him really appealing trade target to go and get one of them. Players who he's currently performing as a top 10 wide receiver, but I feel like you could probably go and trade him and some other smaller supporting piece for a bulletproof top 10 guy. So that's kind of the angle I'm hoping will come up if he has a good week this week. It's kind of part of my grand plan, my Gru going to take over the universe kind of plan. So, Cam, have you got a wide receiver?
This week, I am going to go with Alec Pierce. Look, he's coming off his best game of the season last year, but he's actually had a very serviceable year. He's a downfield threat. He's a big play guy. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, and he's just a prototypical, just go long. And last week he got 10 targets. That's his season high. Yeah. I think he's going to have more around the 5 or 6, but I think like 4 catches for 110 yards, and I think he gets his first touchdown of the season. He hasn't had a touchdown, and guess they're playing Tennessee now. Tennessee's a shit. Look, it may go as far as shit teams. Cardinals, Tennessee gets to be better than the Cardinals because they fucking beat us, and then Miami. Sorry, Mark, but you know what I mean. That's the way it goes. And Tennessee is just, they're bottom of the field against every position. So I think he's going to have a big game. Not many catches, but those catches are going to go for a lot of yards, and I think they're going to get him into the paint this week. So big game incoming for Alec Pierce.
10 targets against anyone is probably equal to 4 targets against the Titans. The Titans will let you have a lot with those four catches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's more of an Alec Pierce game. Alec Pierce is a 5, 4 or 5 targets. But when he connects, he can get you 25 fantasy points and off 4 or 5 catches. So
take the top off guy. We love a guy like that.
Deshaun Jackson.
Love him. Yeah.
Exactly. He's like a yo-yo, right? Like he might score you 2, he might score you 22. I love Alec Pierce too. Like he's had 2 weeks where he was away with concussion, and outside of that, if you just go, oh well, okay, on a per game basis, then he's actually quite a nice little pickup this year. Because he doesn't eat all the targets, but he when he catches one, he's a long way downfield. Good things happen downfield. Dynasty Mark. I love hearing you talk about wide receivers. What do you got, mate?
Love a good wide receiver. This I'm going to go that Green Bay Steelers game is just singing to me. And our mate Romeo Dubs, double it up. Double shake and bake. We are going. He's projected 10.26 points. That Steelers defense. They're giving up. I think I saw 258 average points through the air. Average yards through the air. 31st in the league for passing yards. So they're not stopping much. It's going to be a shootout. Rodgers is going to come out being himself. We both, Matty, you and I both love Aaron, but this is a good game for Love to really just stick it to him, to show the cheeseheads just don't miss him, which maybe they don't. And I'll have him. Let's say easily 100 yards through the air. Call it half a dozen catches, so 6 catches, touchdown.
Woo! Touchdown guarantees for both these fellas. I love this. You can imagine Love just going into Pittsburgh and just shoving it up the Steelers in Aaron's revenge game, can't you? And Dubs, tell me that he and Alec Pierce, to me, kind of share a bit of connective tissue because Dubs, again, he doesn't need 8 catches, 9 catches to kill you, right? He could be 4 for 87 and 2. Like, that's 25 points almost right there. That's
a big frame. He's catching the big ball downfield.
Yeah. Romeo Dubs.
And he's on the field a lot. He's their number one. Yeah. He's their number one receiver. Like, it's not Jalen, whatever his name is. It's not Christian Watkins. It's not, Matthew Golden. It's not Jaden Reed. Sorry, that's his name. But it's him. Yep. He's on the field the most. He's the guy that gets all the targets. And, he's not flashy, but man, he produces for him. They love him.
Pittsburgh's secondary stinks. Like, it stinks.
Oh, terrible.
God, they paid all that money for the highest paid defense to you, Cam. They'd even give that up. And you look good taking that catch too, I reckon, mate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking good.
Thank you.
I love the call. Love the call. Dubs versus Pittsburgh, and we reckon he's getting up with a nice long touchdown. And what do you reckon about 6 catches, 100 yards-ish, Marky?
Yeah, I think so. That's doable.
The touchdown guarantees are ringing everywhere. I want to stick with you, Mark, to round this out with your tight end. I know this is a position that largely disappoints you.
If I'm forced to pick one, I'm going to go Julian Hill. Now, this is big because even Mr. and Mrs. Hill wouldn't have picked Julian Hill. But with Waller out...
Cam's forehead is just like furrowed. He's like, who?
So...
Did you say Taysom Hill or...
Yeah.
Julian Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Justice Hill, he said.
Justice Hill.
Yeah. Julian Hill, give me the story, man.
So projected 4.33 points. He got a lot more playing time, obviously, when Waller went out. This offense is just making me so sad right now. Tua's not going to get time in the pocket while ever he's on the field. He's not going to get time in the pocket to do anything long, so he's going to have to use his tight ends. It's either this guy or Tanner Connor. Julian Hill to me is probably the better of the two, and I say that with a real wince.
I mean, you watch a lot of Dolphins football, so I'm just willing to take everything you say when it comes to depth, right? I'm just willing to do that because I don't know anyone who watches more Dolphins football than you.
There's no one sadder than me.
I've noticed.
It's fair. I can see him. If they get it right, it could be like a 40 yards and a touchdown. I guess that's probably where I'll aim. It'll just be a couple of check downs.
That's a top 10 week at tight end, man.
Right? It's 10 points. I'll take that all day, every day.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, by the time you wrap the catches into it, especially because it's got to be short, right? You can have 7 catches for 40 yards at tight end in the way that offense has got to work at the moment, right? Like, it's kill them with 1,000 paper cuts because you don't have time to get along.
Yeah, Waddle and Achane are the only threats in that offense. Yep. Achane's probably not going to be able to do a lot on the ground because they're going to expect that's the only way they're going to move the ball. So if we manage to luck our way down to their red zone, might jag one to a tight end.
Yeah, I like that. Julian Hill. So after Cam and I have literally Googled who Julian Hill is, What do you think about the call?
Parents had to do that.
He's standing in his own lounge room. People are like, who are you?
He has played this year. He's on the field. Look, he's playing like 50, 60% of the snaps. So that's 0% rostered, 0% started. That's a true breakout call. I like it a lot.
This is, I feel like we may hear about this guy on the Sunday show. Wow. Nice and deep. I can't match that for obscureness, but for Mark, being a Dolphins fan too, he hasn't said this, but I actually sent him a card through the mail this week, and it was a get better card. Not because he's unwell, but because I think he could be better. So picking the Dolphins as his ride or die has been a tough existence for the poor guy. Cam, let's move into tight end for you, man. Have you got a glimmer of sunshine at a pretty tough position for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little more chalk for my tight end. I'm going to go with Cade Otton. Look, they have just been decimated with injuries there in Tampa Bay, and whenever that happens, Cade Otton gets work. They're playing the Saints. It's actually not a bad line, man. I think it's a 46 and a half point over under there. Bucks are only favored by 4.5, which means they are, Vegas is expecting them to be shorthanded. So, when that happens, Cade Otton's always good for a touchdown in a big game. So I'm going to go 8 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown for the tight end there in Tampa Bay. Well, actually, they're playing in New Orleans, but in
New Orleans, so in the Dome. But 23, if you add that up, 23 points. Whew, that's tight end one.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But possible, right? We saw Cade Otton do this last year when they were down on targets because Evans had those 4.5 games out with the hamstring. Clearly, Chris Godwin had completely ruined every part of his lower leg, in both legs, I think. And they were just scratching around for places to throw the ball. And the only really solid thing they had there, other than resurrecting the career of Sterling Shepard, was Cade Otton. Just kept on keeping on. He was great. I think he had weeks last year where he was a top 2 tight end numerous times in that patch. So he goes and throws up at 13.5 last week in a game where the other receivers were in and out. Man, anything's possible. 8 for 90 and a touchdown against the Saints, who've not been terrific. Totally possible. Ooh.
Absolutely. And it looks like Bucky might not be back. And Godwin probably won't play. So, it's going to be Emeka Egbuka with a bum hammy and, the likes of Sterling Shepard and Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson.
And Cam Johnson, the Johnsons. Yeah. A veritable list of who's who in the Tampa Zoo. Mark, I know you're not going to like this, but I'm still picking on Miami, and I went and took my boy Kyle Pitts for a good little game against Miami.
Love it.
Just because he's been getting targets and he hasn't really done a lot of end zone rating, but I just kind of feel like he's been getting the ball, and you can do worse than attack Miami's middle. This might be the week he gets a touchdown. So I went with 13 plus points for Kyle Pitts this week in a week where people are going to be pretty short on tight ends. There's a bunch of them missing. Sorry to pick on your team again, brother.
No, that's just smart money, mate.
There you go. I'm going to read back our breakout candidates for this week. Mate, for our quarterback, where Marky kicked us off, we've got Penix for 20-plus points against Miami. Joe Flacco, I love this, 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 5 rushing yards from Cam. I went in with Bo Nix, 25-plus against Dallas. We then went into running back, and we had Kimani Vidal against the Vikings on the Thursday Night Football. 15 attempts, 60 yards, 5 for 30 yards in the passing game. Why not throw in a touchdown too? It's pretty likely. A bunch of points for Kimani Vidal. We think he'll just be involved everywhere. J.K. Dobbins against Dallas. You can do worse than pick on Dallas. We reckon 100-plus yards, plus 2 touchdowns. Why not make it 1 receiving and 1 rushing? Either way, ring the bell for 2 touchdowns. I've taken Breece Hall against the Cincinnati Bengals, 20-plus points. Then at our wide receiver, I kicked that one off with Roma Dunze versus Baltimore for 20-plus points. We got Alec Pierce. I love this from Cam. The receivers this week, actually, I think are just some of our best work. Alec Pierce versus Tennessee, 4 for 110. Give him a touchdown. Guy, he'll get 100 yards, right, Cam? That's just the shoe-in, isn't it?
It's got to do it, man. It's going to be the first time this year. It's got to be against a division rival. Tennessee sucks. Let's go.
They suck. And then talking teams that suck, the Pittsburgh secondary is so bad it could be a tertiary. Romeo Dubs, who's really their de facto one this year in light of all the players they're missing and just who's on the field and getting the targets, versus Pittsburgh, 6 for 100 plus and a touchdown. And then we wrap it up with tight ends. Julian Hill, mate, this is call of the year if this one comes up, versus Atlanta. Give him most of the way to 50 yards and a touchdown in the middle of that field against the Atlanta defense. It's the one place you can go with the ball when Tua's in a hurry, and we saw that they did that a lot with Jonnu last year, and Waller's been eaten this year. Cade Otton, who's just become Mr. Necessary for Tampa Bay, he's against New Orleans. Give him 8 for 90 and a touchdown, and probably a tight end 1 week at that rate, Cam. I reckon you could almost say we're calling a tight end 1 week. Certainly a top 3. And then I've gone and taken Kyle Pitts versus Miami for 13 points. Think this might be the week he gets a touchdown, and that is our breakouts for this week here in week 8 with all the teams on a bye. Well done, fellas. I'm really proud of you both.
That broke well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think we've really helped some fantasy owners out there. I really do.
If you are relying on Julian Hill, I'm really sorry.
This Julian Hill thing, mate, if this comes up, I'm expecting a Julian Hill tattoo, all right?
Done.
He would do it too. He fucking would. And before we get too much older, I want to play the game that's been sweeping the nation. Everyone's been enjoying this. And in the last week, we even had our first clean sweep. It's time to play Tipping Point. Oh. Mark, have you caught on to what's going on here with Tipping Point? I know that you're around the scene a little bit, but, mate, we've put Cam through this before. So I just want to make sure you got a bit of familiarity here, mate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, all good. I'll do my best in this one.
It's we said this
it's a show I used to watch originally before it was on earlier on Prime or so, whatever it's on. It used to be on 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when.
Were you watching the English one?
Yeah, 100%.
English game shows are always better than Australian ones. They just always are. You get the lad from Working on Stonking Trent or whatever, and his name's something that's unpronounceable because he was originally born in Wales or whatever, and the banter on those shows is always so good.
So this was an actual game show, Tipping Point. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with what we're doing. But we just chose it as a name.
It's a great show.
Because, what's in the line?
Cool.
Yeah. I applied to be on it once. I haven't been picked yet, but I put in a new application for the new series. I keep on applying for my game shows. Being up there not winning money as often as you can. But here we are to not win money as well. I'll give a quick rundown on last week too, because this was the most fantastic result I think I've ever seen in terms of putting Taylor to the sword a little bit. He came into the week trailing 4-2. Kev was playing the role of Taylor and Ian was playing the part of World for all intents and purposes with our games last week. The lines were quarterback Dak Prescott against Washington with 22 points or more for Ian. He got 23.2. So Ian, tick, 1-0. CMC versus Atlanta. He was running back 1 going into the week, 23.5 points. Was his projection. 23 was where Ian sat the line, and he got home because CMC just threw up a gentleman's 39. No problems. 2-0. Debo ended up not going. So we kind of had to scrub that one. He had a 13-point line against Dallas, but he was wide receiver 8 going into the week, and McLaurin was likely out. So we thought, he's compelling. This will be interesting. The line got set at 19.5. So I think Kev might have been glad this one was scrubbed because, wow, that's a line. At tight end, we had Sam Laporta at Tampa Bay. He comes into the week tight end 6, 12.3 is his projection. The line got set at 12. So a nice line, and that's a line that Kev needed the over on. And Laporta hung him out to dry, 4.5. So at this stage, Kev's down 3-0, and he wraps up the sweep by Darren Waller at Cleveland. His line is 10.8. He doesn't even score a point. He's on the field, gets 2 targets. No bueno. He has the Chig line, as I call it, or the Kittle line. 4-0 to Ian. pushes the world's lead out to 5-2. So, Mark, incumbent on you as the world player this week to kind of press that on. But Cam, you got to stop the bleeding, mate.
I know. Hey, man, I'm here. Let's go.
Okay. So the way this will work, and for those who are playing at home, who haven't played at home, you can play along too, right? I'm going to name a player. I'm going to tell you who they're against, where they are in scoring at their position in sleeper standard scoring, and then we're going to throw it to one of the lads to start the bidding, and they can go back and forth as many times as they like, always escalating the amount of points they're suggesting the player will score this week against that opponent. And when it gets too rich for the other player, they just say, well, I'm out. You can have him. And that's where the line sits. So you can play at home too, and you can continue to set a line higher than where we stop, or you might tag out sooner, and then you just keep scoring where you're at. So great little game for everyone to play at home. Cam, Taylor needs all the help he can get. So I'm going to come to you first with the quarterback this week. And the quarterback is the Thursday night football quarterback, Carson Wentz, up against the Chargers. This might be his last chance as a starter if McCarthy's back the following week. He's currently 30th in scoring at quarterback. Where do you want to start the bidding on Carson Wentz versus the Chargers, who are bottom 10 defense against fantasy quarterbacks?
Bottom 10. Let's see. They're in LA, so it's probably going to still be a home game for them, knowing the Chargers. So let's go with, I'll set the line at 13 points.
I'll go... It really depends at what point in the game he's going to get a concussion, because that's going to happen. It happens second quarter. No, I'll raise you to 15.
10 points. I'll go 16.
17.
You know, it's a primetime game. Nice weather. You know, it's played in SoFi. Let's do 17 and a half.
You can have him at 17 and a half. That guy's going to be injured by the third quarter.
Sold.
That got spicy. I'm loving that. He's projected for 14.1. He scored about 13 the last week. But, you know, it's completely against the bottom 10 defense. And, yeah, as you say, Cam, a trip to LA to play against the Chargers isn't always a road game. So, like a 17.5 is our line for Cam. Lovely. Mark him up. I'm looking at you. I'm going to introduce a wide receiver. I'm going to bring in a veteran wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, against Cleveland this week. Weirdly, he's wide receiver 26 this season, so not horrible. He's kind of irrelevant.
I own him in an annoying amount of leagues. He has been frustrating.
Yeah, because he'll bag you a bunch and then he'll disappear and score you 3.
And it's week to week.
But he's playing against Cleveland, whose secondary is just abhorrent. So it depends on how much you think he'll be the object of Drake May's desire. Wide receiver 26 against the terrible Cleveland secondary. Stephon Diggs, where do you want to start the bidding, mate?
I'll kick it off let's start at 12.
12 points. See, that's, you know, yeah, let's probably, yeah, you know what? Let's do 13.
4 point touchdowns.
6 points for receiving touchdowns.
6 points. Yeah, sorry, it's 4 points passing touchdown. Never mind.
Yeah.
So 12. Yeah, I'll go to 15.
15. Yeah, I mean, look, man, you can do that. He got 7 targets last week. He's only playing at about 60% of the snaps. What did you say? You said 15?
15.
14. 15. Let's do 15-5.
Give me 16.
16-5.
Give me 18.
I'm sorry, did you just jump to 18?
Yeah, that's right.
18.
I dropped an 18.
You did, man. And you know what? That takes some waivers, man. That's a ballsy, and I like it. I'm all here for it, man. You've got him at 18. Sorry, he's yours, man.
But this is why Ronnie won't let me go to auctions, because, you know.
He just muscled in there and took that. I like that, man. That shows some
$100,000 house. Give me $1 million. Drive him out.
But you were driving it in half points, and you just come in with a bang, 1.5. Fuck yes.
Throwing 9s.
I love
like this check down shit.
Brings out the roll 100 and he just starts thumbing them off. Oh, my God. It's getting the Benjamins out. So we've got an 18-point line for Mark with Stephon Diggs versus the Browns. His projection this week is 12.9 on Sleeper. So, mate, yeah, I guess that's the touchdown, right? The touchdowns can be fluky. And if you get the touchdown, you're a long way away there, right?
He hasn't got one this year, so, he's due. He's due.
So he needs 3 in this game. We're good. Get it.
When he goes and throws up a 28-point week because he gets the 3 touchdowns, Mark, I'm going to come and kiss your bald head. Hunt you down and plant these lips right on there. It's been too long. I haven't done that in ages.
It's like a peanut.
It's nice to wax too. What are you using? Sorry, we'll talk about this off mic. I'm going to go back and grab a running back who was not sexy at all, but all of a sudden has had 2 kind of fun weeks all of a sudden. DeAndre Swift is going up against the Ravens thanks to a couple of really nice weeks. He's running back 12 in standard scoring, and he's had his bye. So, that's kind of legit. And he's running against this Ravens defense who've had their troubles because they've been pretty injured. They are starting to get a little bit of that shape back. But, I think it might take a little seeing to be believing with them. I'm going to go to you, Cam, and see where you want to start the bidding on DeAndre Swift, running back 12 against the Ravens.
Man, he's been on a heater. He's actually been serviceable. 4-point PPR. He does catch passes. I'm going to start the bidding at 14.
14.5.
Sorry, 14.5?
14.5.
14.5.
Yeah. I'm going to do 15.5.
It's half. Ravens defense sucks. Lions offense is sneaky good. 15.5. Go 16.
Yeah, Ravens, I think bottom 2, right? I think they're the second. They give up the second most fantasy points to running backs right now. I'm going to go, what'd you say, 16.5?
No, 16.
16. Give me the hook. I'll do 16.5.
I'm going to let you have that one. I fear this is going to be a blowout and he's probably not going to play much.
Okay. So, it's Kyle Mononga game, huh?
Ooh. Just one of my favourite names to say in all the fantasy at the moment too, Kyle Mononga. He sounds kind of like a surname that's just one of those ones that if you hear it once in the morning and you don't realise someone said it, by about 11:30 in a quiet moment, you're like, Mononga. Just picking around in there.
Yeah.
I just forget that a lot with European soccer players. You just have a quiet moment and you hear yourself saying, Cesc Fabregas. He's got one of those names. DeAndre Swift, 16.5 against the Ravens. I feel like that's a good line considering he's scored so well in the last couple of weeks. He's had 124 rushing yards in back-to-back weeks, and his line on Sleeper was 12.2, and he's been comfortably dealing with that. The Ravens haven't really shown a lot of opposition, so that's a great spot to die on a hill because you can still have a really great week and not get the line, but God, he's been as involved as he has been. He may well just shit all over that line, so it's a good spot. I like it.
Ben Johnson wants to run that ball, man, so
he's been desperate to get it set up, hasn't he? He's been desperate because that's what he's been really glad to have had at the Lions all those years was this rock-steady running game and being able to build everything off that. In the last 2 weeks, it looked better.
100%.
It pains me to say that about the Bears, but there you go. Good on you, Kev. The next one, I'm going to bring up our tight end before I go to our mystery meat, our 5th position. And now that I've said mystery meat, it's going to make me think very differently about this player for forever and ever. But the tight end, I'm going to go to Dalton Schultz. He's playing against the 49ers this week. Was super involved as they were losing receivers all over the place and even came off the field for a little bit in that game on Monday night against Seattle. But he's currently tight end 17. Just all of a sudden starting to look more involved than that. I'm going to go to Mark first. Mark's a bit of a fan of a tight end, and I'd like to see where you would like to start on Dalton Schultz versus the 49ers. Now, 17th tight end on the year.
Well, this is an easy one, Matty. You know my stance on tight ends. They're not real people, so isn't 0 a number that I can... No.
You like tight ends as a concept of like having a tight end, is something that you carry around personally. But as in terms of football positioning, you and I have been known to be quite skittish on tight ends.
Correct. Look, I start at 6. Let's start there.
6. You know what? Nico might not play. Didn't he get concussed?
He was in and out of that game a little bit too. Yeah.
And a pile of rookies. I'm going to go with 8.
I mean, yeah, he got concussed, but it's still a tight end. Let's go. I'll go 2 more. Maybe he catches a 20-yard pass. Let's go to 10.
10. Okay. 11.
All yours.
He's out.
Sold.
These people don't exist.
I like a good tight end.
Give me 800 flex positions and no tight ends.
Yeah. That's a great way to be. I mean, it's rough out there in the streets at the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 6 or 7 who you can kind of be like, I've got expectations, and then everyone else is just upside. So.
Put another lineman in.
And then you start. Yeah, exactly. Or you start George Kittle and he gets you 0, or Chig, or freaking Darren Waller, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a fucking turd.
The goose egg brigade.
Yeah, exactly.
To think you could start a second tight end on Pittsburgh and walk away with more points, it's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, so I've got Cam for 11 plus versus the 49ers. His line, incidentally, was 8. So, and I think that's because it really hasn't factored in. There's iffiness around Stephon Diggs. We talk about this on a Wednesday night, so it's still a little way off for accuracy on whether players go or not. Our mystery meat, our fifth player here. Last week, because of the company we had, I went 2 tight ends. And in the past, I've mixed this up a little bit. I knew Mark would chase me down and set my house on fire if I played 2 tight ends. So I'm going super flex. I've got a second quarterback. And Mark, I'm going to come to you first on this one. Our mate Jackson Dart over in New York has just kind of been this fun barrel of God knows what's going to happen next. He and Scatterboo and Wandale Robinson have put together this like unlikely offense over there where they thought it was going to be Russ, Tyron Tracy, and Malik Neighbors, and all of a sudden it's none of them, and they're actually fun and winning. Jackson Dart's playing the Eagles this week, though, so this is kind of where this gets fun. He's been scoring like a maniac, and now he kind of faces a relatively tough fantasy defense. He's currently in scoring, although not indicative of his actual performance. Quarterback 23 on the year. When do you want to start some bidding on Mr. Funbags, Jackson Dart?
Yeah, he is fun. He reminds me so much of first year Josh Allen.
Yes,
but actually, he's doing quite well.
He's easy to cheer for. He doesn't turn it over as much. He's just a bit easier to cheer for.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to read too much into the defense. I think he'll still do what he has been doing. Let's go. I'm going to go high. Let's go 16.
16. You know what, man? He's just that team is so much fun to watch. It is. They've turned that thing, him and Scatterboo, to have just absolutely turned that franchise around. I'll go 17-5.
Ooh.
On reflection, you're right. 16 wasn't high. I'm going to drop the hammer. Let's go 20.
You know what? I think what it was his 3rd game. He played Philly, and he actually did prove it. That Philly defense ain't as good as it used to be, man. And they just went and signed Brandon Graham off the couch. So I think they're pretty in a little more trouble than they seem to be. I'm going to go 20. I'll go 23 and a hook. I'll do 23 and a half.
24.
24. Man. 25.
26.
Woohoo! Man, this is projection from me because I'm having to put him into one of my lineups this week. So
I've got him in leagues too. So please do this.
Yeah. 26. I'll do 20. You know what? You can have him at 26.
Oh.
You know that's a.
I would have went to 28, but cool. I have him at 26. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The 5th player sometimes has been a bust, and it's just been like, one person's got a really high opinion, the other doesn't. This one has just not disappointed at all. I was hoping it would be enigmatic and interesting, and to get From when did we start? Like 14 to 26. Fantastic. 16 to 26. That's brilliant. Well played.
He just did it against Denver. Yeah, I mean, Denver's a tough defense at Denver too, at Mile High.
Yep.
I mean, he put up almost 30 points. So, I mean, the kid's starting.
Yeah, he's a real fantasy bag of badges, isn't he? Yes, don't know what's going to come up next. And 26 points against his projection's only 16, but we've seen just week on week that's just not going to hold him in. Like he will score more points than that because he's just got ways of getting points and he plays off script and he's been doing fine. So Mark's got 26 or more on that one. I'll give the full recap. We started with the quarterback, Carson Wentz, on the Thursday night against the Chargers. We have a 14-point line on Sleeper, but for tipping point, Cam's got him at 17.5. We went to our wide receiver next, Stephon Diggs, versus the Browns against a 12.9 projection. Marky Mark took him at 18 points. We then went to the running back, DeAndre Swift, against the Ravens, who've been pretty poor against the run, and they may well continue to be so. Swift with a 12.2-point projection in the face of all his scoring lately. Cam goes and gets him on a 16.5 or more. Love that. Our tight ends, Dalton Schultz versus the 49ers against an 8-point line. Cam goes and gets him for 11. A pretty reasonable grab, but as Mark says, tight ends are not real people. And lastly, our mystery meat was Jackson Dart at the Eagles, a 16-point projection on Sleeper. No sweat. Mark was going to go to 28, gets him for 26 points or more against the Eagles. Bargain. Look at that. Did you enjoy playing tipping point for the first time here, Mark? Cam's a bit of a veteran at it, but did you enjoy your first well round?
That was great.
It's excellent, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
So this took Taylor all of 9 seconds to dream up, so you know it was good. When it comes to like a bolt of lightning, you know it's going to be really good. If he has to like agonize over it, you're like, this might be tough. But this came to him like a shot from the moon or whatever, and he's got a concept here. I think this is so much fun. Cam, did you come away with the biscuits against Taylor in week 3 as well? I feel like I remember you beating him 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1. Yeah, 4-1 on the first time around, and it was. I mean, I think I took some pretty hefty lines there too, and I got a couple by like a half point, but I got there. Yeah, win's a win, right? So
it's a win, baby. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Taylor's going to rely on you doing that, and Mark, the world, who's off to a 5-2 lead, would just love to see you pour on the pain. That is it for here on the Friday show. We've been through some tipping point. We've been through our breakouts, and we've had a great chat with both Cam and Mark. We've been through a bit of what's going on in the listener leagues too. We're going to come back for the Sunday show. We're going to dive into the mailbag and get into the most fabled of all of our segments. It's been going for 5 years now. The starts of the week. And this year, it has been turned up an extra level for spiciness, and that leaderboard is showing it. We'll get into that on Sunday. In the meantime, make sure you catch GDAY Gridiron tomorrow. The boys come in and they do their games you have to watch on the Sunday slate, and then they also do the preview of the Monday Night Football. If you didn't catch their earlier week episode too, they always do reactions to the previous week and also preview the Thursday Night Football game. Cam, looking forward to having you back on the Sunday show. You're doing an admirable job as Taylor. I'm loving the energy you're bringing, man.
Thanks, man. I feel like I'm harnessing Taylor's energy through me and trying to bring that out into the episode. So
more dick jokes.
How am I doing?
Right.
Yeah. You know what? I need to bring more dick jokes.
You're a little on the unders.
You know what? I'm writing that down.
Everything else, you're right up there, brother. It's just the dick jokes. I reckon we're missing a few foreskins, a few scrotums. Yeah. And
I'll work on that for the Sunday.
When in doubt, dicks and ass. Mark,
I'm all over
this.
Yeah.
He knows Taylor's game, don't you, Mark?
Unfortunately. That guy is outstanding. I've enjoyed this one. This has been good. Like it's good to connect with others, Matty, because obviously when I've filled in the past, it's just been you. I actually know when I filled in for you when you were off with a broken collarbone because bicycles were not your friend.
That show was amazing. That was the seagull sex episode. I remember that. Cam's
only goals.
What the fuck? Only goals. The birth of only goals.
Hey, Taylor found the only car park where seagulls were getting it on. The guys are weirdo.
He's just in a Coffs Harbour car park in the rain with seagulls congregating around his car. He thought he was in a night spot. That was quite a show. October 2020. 2, I think that one. So back in the archive. Sunday show, Mark, you've been through starts of the week a bunch of times. Clearly, it's got a little bit of added spice this time. Cam's the veteran of the current setup of starts of the week, but you're looking forward to doing that, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The last time I did it was, playoffs 2 years ago. So when I did beat Taylor. So, and that's when I retired. So I'm going to come back only because he's not here and he can't beat me.
It's a safe way to do it. Keeps his title. I love it.
The coward's way out.
On the Sunday show. In the meantime, you know where to catch everything on the AGN. You can find us too on the merch store, linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. It's also your gateway to everything else that we do on the network. We'll catch you all on Sunday. Hooroo, everyone.
Hooroo.
The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. Thanks to the Aussie Gridiron Network, Australia's home for NFL and Australian gridiron content. Discover everything the network has to offer, including GDAY Gridiron, Pastry Press, NFL, and Aussie Gridiron Today. Buy merch and win free stuff. Visit the mothership at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Hooroo.